Hi there, Mindsetters, and welcome to Learn Extra Live. It's a Thursday, and Haley's standing next to me, so this must mean it is grade 10 maths lit.
Hi, grade 10s.
How are you, Haley?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, good.
Good to have you with me.
I know, it's
Yeah.
lovely, and also on such a special day. Happy Women's Day.
And to you. And
Yeah.
to you. And to everybody out there.
To everybody out there. And I do know that Haley's family is actually watching.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make her do a shout out.
I'm doing a shout out to my kids, Erin and Sammy, Dad, and everybody else that's watching. My husband, I suppose, I better mention him.
Yeah,
Hi,
you better.
Yeah.
Okay, Haley, take your spot.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, it's going to be an awesome show. So Haley's family who's watching, she's going to get a crit when she gets home. You better be nice to her because we love her here at Mindset Learn. What I want to say is, guys, chat to us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Learn Extra. You can also chat to me, Indy, on Twitter @Learn Extra. We are here to help you. This community is not just for us, guys. It is also for you guys to help you learn more and learn extra. And if there's anything you are struggling with, if there's something that Haley's talking about that you're not really understanding, please post your questions on the page or on Twitter, and we will get to it in the last 30 minutes of the show and help you guys out. So without further ado, I'm going to send you over to Haley, and I'll see you at the next break. There's
Thank you,
Haley.
G. Guys, today we're going to be doing measurement. But before we start with our measurement, what do we need? We need our numbers from last week, or from this week. We've got our numbers from last week. Last week we had 14,319. And Indy, what do we got today?
Okay, today, guys, we've got 14,720. But while I'm still on, I would like to also do a little bit of a challenge to the lady mindsetters. I have posted on the Facebook page a little graph which shows how many males to females there are on the page. And at the moment we're sitting on females. 45.5% are females on the page. And that is from, 13 to 17-year-olds. And then we've got males, which is 54.4. Come on, girls. Get all of your friends to like the Mindset Learn page so we can trump the boys. So there'll be more boys, more girls than boys, because at the moment they're taking over. Haley?
Brilliant challenge. Come on, girls, you can do this. Okay, we're still going to use our numbers at a later stage, so let's start with today's show. But before we do that, we've got a challenge question, and Indy, I believe it is actually on Facebook. So your challenge question is the following. What you need to do is we are going to estimate the perimeter and area of the board. That is this board that I am writing on. Okay, and we're going to do it, not the entire board, we're going to do just what you can actually see, like the part that I can write on. So you need to estimate the perimeter and the area of the board, and we need to give your answer to the closest meter, and then to the closest centimeter. So for both, I need meter and centimeter. In fact, for the area, I'm going to need meter squared and centimeter squared. So that's the challenge. And what we'll do is, just before we go to a break, or when we come back from the next break, maybe I'll give you a little bit of a hint and a clue. So let's start with the lesson. What we're going to be doing today is perimeter, and we're going to be looking at area. So we'll start with perimeter. And what I want to tell you with perimeter is, let's get a different color. Perimeter is one-dimensional. Okay, it is the outline of a shape. The outline. It is always measured in millimeters or centimeters, possibly meters, and even kilometers. It is a single unit. It is not to the power of 2 or 3. It is one dimension. And in each case, what we need to do is just kind of imagine ourselves sitting on the corner of the shape and walking around the shape. So let's look at some examples, and I'll give you some formula. So starting with the square. Now imagine I was standing on the edge here, and I'm going to walk around the square. That is what I'm looking for with a perimeter. Now if each one of these is a length, well, we know that they're all the lengths, because a square has 4 equal sides. So my formula for my perimeter is actually length plus another length plus length plus length. I can simplify that formula and say, well, actually, it is my length times 4, or 4 times my length. So that's my formula for the square. A rectangle is slightly different. So your rectangle has got 2 equal sides opposite each other, and then these 2 sides are equal. So if I say that's my length, then that's a length. And if that's a breadth, Well, that's the breadth of the rectangle. Now, what I suggest you do is when you get a question, always fill in which is the length and which is the breadth. And it really doesn't matter if we confuse these and say, well, that's actually my length and that's my breadth. Let's move that back. It doesn't make a difference, but as long as you have the same length throughout your question, the same breadth throughout your question, you will be fine. So fill in the numbers and fill in the letters. It'll just make it easier. So let's start walking from here. So I'm going to go up, and I'm going to say it's a breadth plus a length plus a breadth plus a length. So my perimeter, in actual fact, I'm going to start walking this side. I'm going to go length plus breadth plus length plus breadth. So it's length plus breadth plus length plus breadth. Again, I can simplify that, and I can see that I've actually got 2 lengths and 2 breadths. So I can say it's 2 times my length plus my breadth. And that's the formula. The other nice thing about this is that we're not really testing whether you know the formula, so we will be giving you the formula within the question. So you just need to be able to substitute into the formula. Right, let's look at our triangle. Our triangle, okay, has got A, B, and C. I'm actually going to label each one of these. I'm going to say, well, that is side 1, that is side 2, and that is side 3. I can label these as A, B, AC, and BC, but I think it might be easier to say, well, they're sides. So let's look at our perimeter. My perimeter is the outline. So let's change color. If we're starting at B, we're going to be walking up side 1, down side 2, and across side 3. So my formula is side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. And whenever you get any complicated shapes, you just need to break them down into shapes that you know, shapes that you understand. Let's move on to our circle. Now, before we start with a circle, let's get a little bit more space. Before we start with our circle, what I want to point out is that we are looking for the outside. That's that blue line. That is the outside of the circle. So if I start walking there, and I walk all the way around the circle. But there are 2 things that I need to know about the circle. Firstly, the line from the edge of the circle through the center to the edge. So that is from the circumference through the center to the other circumference, to the other side, is called the diameter. Hope that fits into the screen. Is called the diameter. So this green line is my diameter. And if I'm looking at the line, I think that's in white. If I'm looking from the center, from the circumference, no, where did that come from? From the circumference to the center is actually my radius. So this over here is the radius. Now, what do we know about the diameter? The diameter is actually 1 radii and the second radii. I can actually say that's a radius and that's a radius. So my diameter is actually equal to 2 radii. 2 radiuses. Is it 2 radii or 2 radiuses? 2 radii, I think. Sounds better. Okay. And therefore, my radius is in actual fact my diameter divided by 2. Now, one of the things that you're going to be told is that pi is equal to 3,14. I'm going to give you the formula in a second. I want to discuss this 3,14. When we're doing Maths Lit in grade 10, remember we only need our 4-function calculator. So on a 4-function calculator, we don't have, and I'm going to bring up my scientific calculator, we don't have this pi button, which I have on my scientific calculator. So if I look at what my pi is worth on my scientific calculator, I see that it's 3,1415926, it carries on. We are going to simplify that, and we're going to say every time we see pi, we're going to substitute 3,14 into the equation. So even if you have a scientific calculator, don't use the button, the power button, rather use the numbers 3,14. So let's go back to this. Now we need our formula. So my perimeter of my circle is actually also my circumference, and the formula for that is 2 pi r. 2 times pi times the radius. Now remember I said to you that 2 and your radius is actually a diameter. So what we can say, it's also pi times your diameter. So in actual fact, let's rewrite this as 3,14 times the diameter, and we're going to rewrite this one as 2 times by 3,14 times the radius, so that we get rid of that power button. Okay, I think the best thing to do is maybe do some examples. So let's look at our question. Right, oh, here is your challenge question again, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. And I'm trying to picture, and I've been trying to picture the whole time we've been on air, Inti will be my witness to this, as to how I'm going to give you a hint. But I was told that maybe because you're estimating something that you can't physically see and you're seeing it on the TV, maybe in relation to my body, you're going to be able to kind of make a better estimate. So if I stand on the edge, okay, and I kind of stretch my arms out, I don't know how much of this they're going to be able to see. If I stretch my arms out, the board is a little bit longer than my arms stretch totally wide. Okay? If I stand, if I stand on the edge and I try to stretch just maybe from my shoulder to the board, that's how much you're seeing. I hope they're actually seeing this. Okay?
Sure
And
they
then
are.
our breadth, well, if I put my elbow maybe at the bottom and you can see how big that is, maybe that'll help. So that's just to give you like a little bit of a clue as to what these measurements are. And later we're going to estimate. I'll estimate with you, and we'll do the actual measurements. We will measure it. So let's do some examples now. Right, we need to calculate the perimeter of the shapes below. Give your answer in meters. Now, this is something that is so important for you to realize that you need to read through a question first. Always make a note of what units they want the answer in. And my suggestion to you, honestly, is convert first. Convert into that measurement first. It makes it so much easier for you, and you're not converting squared units or volume and cubed units. It'll just make it easier. So we need our answer in meters. So I'm going to look at this shape. Let's get a little bit more space here. Then look at my shape. I've got that is 40 meters. And I'm also going to make that my breadth. This is my length, but it is in centimeters. So I've got 15,000 centimeters. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 15,000 centimeters and I'm going to convert that into meters. Now the question to you is how many meters are in a centimeter. So I'm going to find a little bit more space to show you how I like to do my conversions. So let's get a different color pen. Right, what do we know? First of all, in your exams or in your pencil cases or at school, always, you should have a ruler. Now, your ruler is your little legal cheat, let's call it that, because you have one and you can bring it into an exam. So what do we know from our ruler? We know from our ruler that 10 millimeters is equal to 1 centimeter. You've got that in front of you. Then we need to remember how many, whoops, sorry about that. Right, how many centimeters in a meter? So, my centimeters in a meter, it is a little bit of a bigger area, a little bit of a bigger length, and it is actually 100 centimeters is in 1 meter. And finally, into 1 kilometer, and 1 kilometer. And if I think about this, I always relate it to something that I can relate to. Like, for example, if I'm driving on the highway, I can see the turnoff, and when it says I've got 1 kilometer to go, I can kind of judge the distance of that, and it is 1,000 meters. The other thing you could just do is you could just remember that we go 10, 100, 1,000. Every time we're adding a 0. Now, when I go from the one number to the other, no, I don't have a pen to do that. Right, if I move from the one number to the other, I'm moving from the number 10 to the number 1. I am going smaller. And the only way I can go smaller is if I divide. When I move from the number 1 to the number 1,000, the only way I can do that is if I multiply. Now, the way we use this table is that we find our value on the one side and what we want on the other side. So we at the moment are looking for centimeters on that side, and I'm converting to meters on the other side. So I'm going from centimeters to meters, which means that I need to divide, and I need to divide by the value that is in this row. Divide by 100. Okay, so I hope that helps. Let's go back up and do that. So we're going to take our 1,500 and we're going to divide it by 100 to get it into meters, and I see that I can just cancel my zeros actually, and I can see that that is 150 meters. I'm going to write that into my diagram because it makes it easier when I now need to substitute in the values. Right, and my formula for that, my perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus the breadth. So substitute, we've got 2 and open my bracket. What was my length? My length was 150 and my breadth was 40. So I can see that it's 2 times. Now I can do this on my calculator. So let's get our calculator out. We need to do our brackets first. That's 150 plus 40. Get an answer and then times by 2. So we see that it's 380 meters. Don't forget your unit at the end of your question. Now, if you'll notice, I left out the meters when I was actually substituting into the formula. I find it easier to leave it out in the formula, but then to always remember that it needs to come into the answer. So let's move on to the next shape. Right, our next shape. Calculate the perimeter of the shape below. So I think, do you think we've got enough time for me to do this one?
Let's have a look. Let's have an ad break. Guys, I think that's the best thing. Takalani is joining in and he says, hello Indy, it's Maths Lit. I do all types of maths and that's what mathematicians do. I completely agree. Learning more, learning extra. You never stop learning, guys. Even 90-year-olds carry on learning. It's amazing. Learning new things is incredible and it's a gift. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break, get a little stretch in, go and get some tea or some coffee, and we'll see you now.